How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So we're going to look at 3 recent sales that I had where I lost money. And I like to do these videos because then I can learn from my past mistakes and kind of see how I can do better. Also, you out there, you can learn from my mistakes, and then we can kind of work through it and see how we don't make these same mistakes again. Sometimes it is what it is and there's nothing you can really do about it. But other times, maybe it's bad timing, things like that. I lose more than this, but these are just some of the 3 that I thought were kind of interesting and we can talk about. So let's get into it. Let's look at the first one. The first one is Ultimate Fallout 4. I had a 9.2 that I bought in the green, you can see there, for $868. It sat for sale for 86 days, so pretty much 3 months. I ended up selling it for $6.99. And if you look down, you can kind of see on January 7th, right there on that table, as it sold it for $6.99. And at the time, we had ones before that going for like $6.50, $6.55. One sold for $1,100. I think that was an outlier, but $6.99 seemed to be a pretty good price for that. But if you look at the graph up at the top, you can see that shortly after it just started, boom, skyrocketing. So just kind of lucked out there. There's about $85 in fees. I lost about 30% of my investment on this comic book. So not that great, but I mean, what can we learn from this? Basically, it was just about timing. I had it up for 3 months at Ultimate Fallout 4. That's quite a long time to have it that long. Normally those things fly off the shelf. So it was priced right. I just bought it for too much. There's nothing I can really say other than that. Bought it for too much. If I had that same comic book, that 9.2 now, because this was back in January, I could definitely sell it for way more than I sold it for. I only sold it for $700. I could probably get much more, probably, enough to actually profit on that book. So it was just bad timing on this one. Next up, we got Batman Beyond #1. This is the first appearance of Batman Beyond. I had a 9.0. I paid $500 for it, and it sat for 358 days. That is nearly a year. I ended up selling it for $3.99 minus $49 in fees, and then that was a loss of 30%. And if you look here, you can see that mine was the only book that sold in 2022 for $3.99. So if you look at 2021, you can see one sold for $247, then $315. There's one for $4.99, one for $450, but then it was back down to $325. As you can see, it kind of got a jump up from the comic boom and then went down. And so I happened to sell mine. You can look at the graph at the top. You can see how it just went up and then shot way down. So I actually sold it for a pretty good price comparative, like what else was selling. I mean, one was selling for $247, like just a month prior. I mean, I almost made, like 75% more than that one. So that was pretty good. It just, one of those things, got it at too high of a time, and it just didn't really continue going up. It just kind of went down. But now it's bouncing back. I think with this one though, I mean, with Batman Beyond possibly doing something with the multiverse, maybe that's kind of all we got going for it. We do get old man Bruce Wayne, played by Michael Keaton in the Flash movie, so we got that. That's good. But yeah, just one of those things, I bought it a long time ago, over a year ago. And, during that time, you had no idea what this comic boom was like. You've never seen it before. You had no idea what was going on. And I bought it thinking it'd keep going up because I got it for $400 or $500. Might have been, too much back then, but things were looking pretty good. And, Batman Beyond might be in this and that and all that kind of stuff. Didn't work out. All right, last one on the list. And this book. You'll see what I'm talking about. All right, we got Eternals #1. I got a 9.0, paid $318. I had it for 3 days, and I sold for $185, about $24 in fees. That was a loss of 50% on a book. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why would you sell it, so cheaply? Because you only had it for 3 days. Shouldn't you sit on longer? This thing was dropping like a stone. I needed to get rid of it fast. And if you see, you'll see what I'm talking about. If I didn't get rid of it, it's dropping further and further and further. So you look down here, you can see mine at 185 was on January 15th. And before then, there's about 151, 169, 175. So I got a pretty decent price at 185. But the very next day, one sold for 130, and it just kept on dropping and dropping. You can look at the graph, and it's just going pretty much straight down. It's bad. I had to get rid of that. It's a 50% drop. So what happened with this one? Oh, good old CGC. I had this book forever ago, and I sent it off. And this took so long to come back. And, I should have got it sooner, but, everything got backed up by CGC. That was problem number one. Number two, the movie just there's people out there that like it, but it wasn't that great, to be honest. I think a lot of people convince themselves that they like it. I'm sure there's people that legit like it, but I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Marvel movie. Oh, it's great. I have a friend who's just like that. Like every movie he watches is a Marvel movie. He's a Marvel MCU junkie. He just absolutely loves, thinks it's the greatest movie in the world. And I'm like, how can it be the greatest? You just said this last one was the greatest. Like every one that comes out is the greatest. Oh, it's so amazing. That's how he is. They can do no wrong. And he loved the Eternals, of course. So, but these numbers speak for themselves. I've never seen a drop like this at all in a comic book that correlates with a movie at all. Nothing comes close to this. This is literally just dropping like a stone. Why? Because I think most people realize they're probably not making an Eternals 2. It wasn't that well received. People didn't really like it. And now they just want to get rid of their books. And it just keeps plummeting. I always think like, oh, it's going to turn the corner. It's bottomed out. Nope, it just keeps going down. If you look at the graph here, if I would have gotten it at a normal time, I could have been selling this book instead of for $185. It's hitting highs of like $400 to $500 during its peak. That's what I could have been getting, but timing, oh well, and CGC being slow. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you have a great day. You'll be here through these highs and Stream my new song, Highs and Lows, out now.